Hey everybody, welcome back to the Build Show Network. Steve Basic here. Got a really good treat for you today. We're out at a new project. We're out here with Green Logic Builders. They're doing a hell of a job. And today's topic, we're going to talk about Sub Slab Water Management. Typically, under the slab, when you don't have the ability to go to daylight, you have to use what's called a sump pump and use that with the integrated perimeter drain. So if you're not familiar, sump pumps are typically put inside a sub pump basin. It's basically a plastic trash can. It's got some holes here that you can carve out, and then you plug in that perimeter drain into it. It fills up with water. The pump is at the bottom. Pump has a float on it. Float ejects the water when the float comes up. Pump turns on, ejects the water, sends it on its way, and then that keeps the hydrostatic pressure against the slab at a minimum. Now, typically the hose you use for that, there's all kinds of hoses out there. This is the one that we're using on this job. This one actually has perforations. If I hold it up, you might be able to see a little bit of daylight through it. But the important thing here is it comes with an integral filter sock, right? And what the filter sock does is it makes sure only water is going through and going into the pipe. It's not taking silt or clay or anything with it that might get in the pipe and bog down that water and dam it up. And we can talk about it. We'll go back to the studio and we'll talk about some strategies on how to avoid that. But typically, you want to run this around. Some guys run it on the outside, some guys run it around the inside. In this particular project, we ran it around the inside, and I dug it away here so we could see. You can see it comes in and it tees in. Now, here we didn't have to use the sump basin. We actually have grade in our favor so that it goes out and it drops down. So we can use the God's gift of gravity here to capture all this water, relieve the hydrostatic pressure, goes in the pipe, and then goes out to the swamplands with all the other water. Let's go back to the studio. We'll break out some drawings and we'll talk a little bit more about Sub Slab Water Management. Hey everybody. So hopefully you enjoyed that trip out on the job site there. Green Logic Builders doing a bang up job. Things are looking really good out there. So Sub Slab Water Management. We got some details, and I broke out the foundation plan here so we can have a little chat about it. And of course, you know who's going to join us. So without further ado, let's have at it. All right. So first drawing here that we have is the foundation plan for the building. So you can see the outline of the foundation basement wall all there, and across there, down and over, and then this is the foundation to the garage, one-car garage over there, and the interior wall of the basement there. You can see there's these dashed lines there. They show the footing, but the one that we're dealing with today is this one that has the dash to it that sits inside the footing and gets called out right there. It's this 4-inch diameter perforated drain pipe with filter sock. So remember in the video out there of me holding it up, showed the perforations and then showed the filter sock on the outside of it. Now, we also talked about, showed you the picture of the sump basin. So there's some occasions where maybe we don't have the ability to drain to daylight like we do on this project. So somewhere in the corner of the house, we'd put that sump basin and that perimeter drain would run into it. And you'd have a pump there, and the pump would go out to a pipe in the yard and just drain to gravity there, or it goes out to a French drain system where we put it out there and let it perk into the ground. So there's all kinds of systems there. Some communities actually require that we take some of that rainwater and we don't kick it off the site. We pump it out to a big hole in the ground filled with rocks so that it can perk into the ground at a lower elevation. So, but here on this particular one, we have that 4-inch pipe. You can see it goes around and it traces around the inside of the footing, basically. And it's called a perimeter drain because obviously it goes around the perimeter, and in this case it's on the inside. But notice here and here, drain to daylight. So we have an area where we have discharge there, and then we have an area here that you saw in the video where we actually have a sleeve in the footing, and the discharge goes out here. And because we're at a lower elevation out there, we have the ability to drain to daylight and just let that run out under the ground and into some natural vegetation where it can then perk and actually do good. But we're basically pumping it away from the foundation here. You know, a couple other things in the walk around. You can see the footings here that we have carrying some of the columns. There's some upcoming videos on that stuff. You know, the elevations of the top of the wall, the top of the footing here. But let's take a look at, if we cut through the wall in the section here, what are we looking at? So here's a detail through that sub slab section, and you can see here there's that foundation wall comes to our footing here. Keep it in the footing, but there's that 4-inch perforated drain. Right. And notice that it's embedded, as you saw in the photos, a whole series of 3/4 inch stone where it gets bedded. Basically 4-inch stone bed there, 4-inch perforated drain pipe with filter sock, and that drains to daylight. So that's moving through the system, and it has those perforations in it. And then when we got down to that one section, you saw where we actually had a sleeve that ran through the footing, and then that drain would continue out here to daylight, you know, some, I don't know, 50, 60 feet away. Now, some of you might be saying, hey, Steve, I see that you put it on the inside of this project, which up here in the Northeast, a lot of builders tend to do that. But if we have projects where we say, you know, the builder would prefer, it isn't uncommon to come out here and put in, you know, the drain out here on the outside, and then put it in a stone bed, wrap it here in filter fabric here so that we don't get any muck filling that up. And then that can either go to typically would go to daylight. We wouldn't bring that back in to a sump pump. A lot of times we just run it around the inside because we're using the sump pumps, but it's a little less pipe too if you run it around the inside. And there are rare occasions where we have a relatively higher level of hydrostatic pressure, and we'll do both. We'll put that here, we'll put that there, and we'll put a number of sleeves. So if we brought back the foundation plan, it's not uncommon to run a perimeter drain around the outside too in risky foundations, and we'll just put a number of 4-inch PVC pipes basically in the bottom of the footing and just catch the footing over the top. And what that does basically is it connects the inside drain system to the outside drain system, so that if any of the pipes clog, we have that connection here, multiple connections, where we turn that kind of one pipe system into this multi 2-pipe system. And we connect the two. One of the other things too that's important is if you're going to run it out here, especially, you're always susceptible to water migration down the outside of the wall. And when it does that, it's going to bring silt and clay and all these other things with it. And, if this stone and filter fabric isn't done right, you really put this drainage pipe in a position for failure. And you can see in the photos here, I've actually done some building investigations where we've taken this pipe and we've cut it open and we've found it all mucked up, filled with mud. And it's because all of the right components were there. The pipe was there, the stone was there, and even the filter fabric in the photos was there, but it just wasn't installed properly, and the filter fabric was just kind of willy-nilly laid in there, kicked in the hole. And over time, those photos are, I don't know, they were probably less than 10 years of getting filled with muck. And the last thing you want to do is pay somebody to have to excavate the perimeter of your house, because you're getting water migrating in here because the pipe can't do its job. So anyways, that's Sub Slab Water Management. And the thing that's probably the takeaway here is, guess how many chances you get at it? One. You get one chance at Sub Slab Water Management. So all I can say there, and you can see in those photos, take advantage of that one chance. All right, everybody. I guess that's what we call a wrap. So anyways, hopefully you enjoyed that. Sub Slab Water Management. You only get one shot at it, so you don't want to screw that up. Anyways, if you're looking for more, whole library worth of videos, well over a year. Got my other buddies on the Build Show Network, Matt, Jake, Brent, Wade, Zach, Drywall Shorty, Mechanical Hub, and of course Design Build Doug. So go check them all out. A lot of great information out there. And hey, if you haven't checked it out, we have the Build Show Build, which is a whole series where Jake and I go through a series of episodes of the Hilltop Aero project. So we take you through the whole build. So anyways, go check that out, and you can binge watch, because all the episodes are there. If you're looking for more from me, find me on Instagram, Steve Basic Architect, putting information up there daily, sharing with you, so we can all get a little better tomorrow. So, and lastly, find me on the Unbuild It podcast. I joined my good friends Jake and Peter, and we talk everything building. So anyways, Unbuild It podcast. Check it out. Until next time, long live our buildings.